leads us to question number 2, and it is about CJ McCollum. The question is, where are we? It's not just his poor performance the past 4 games. 14.5 points per game, 34% shooting, 5 for 20 on three-pointers. For the entire season, Jared, you write that CJ McCollum is also down in scoring. Field goal percentage, free throw shooting, assists from last season. Should Blazers fans be worried about CJ McCollum?
No, I don't think so. It's CJ McCollum. He's a scorer and a shooter, and he's in a shooting slump, and that happens to the best of players. I mean, it's 4 games, because before that he was playing well. So I don't think we should overreact to 4 bad shooting games from CJ, because he's not scoring a lot of points and he's not shooting the ball well, but he's doing everything else. During the past 4 games, he's averaging about 6 rebounds, which is a rebound and a half more than his season average. He's averaging 3.5 assists, which is significantly more than the 2.2 he's averaging for the year. And you wouldn't think it, because Bradley Beal just scored 51 points, but CJ is one of the few players out there who's still playing defense. If you look at all the advanced statistics for individual defense, he's up near, in the past 4 games, he's up near the top of all the Blazers, and that's partly because everyone else is playing so poorly right now, but he's one of the players out there who's still giving a lot of effort on defense. And if you take, Bradley Beal didn't just beat up on CJ last night. No. He beat up on everybody.
Everyone.
And if you look at, the 3 games before Bradley Beal went off last night, opposing shooting guards were averaging 11 points per game against the Blazers. So CJ's still going out there doing work. He's just not making shots. And he's probably, I bet against Houston he comes out and has a good game. That's just the way CJ operates.
On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm like at -11 in terms of concern here. Because, last year, if you look to this point where he was last year at this time he averaged 22 points a game. Right now he's almost at 21. His assists last year at this point in the season were 1 better. Rebounds are about the same. His field goal percentage is like 3 points down so far this year as to where he was at this point last year. But his 3-point shooting is actually slightly better. And he's taking about the same amount of shots as he took last year, about 18 a game. So I'm not concerned about it at all. The fact that his stats are still what they are, despite how much he struggled the last 4 games, shows how well he played earlier in the season. And the only thing that might be concerning, and it's not about CJ, it's more about the offense in general, is when he was hot at the beginning of the season, he was making difficult shots. Turnaround jumpers from 15 feet away contested are not easy shots. They're shots CJ McCollum can make, but they're not, open 18-footers, open 3-pointers, And so that might be where the concern is, but that's not a CJ McCollum concern. That's more the offense not getting good looks of a concern.
I totally agree with you guys. It's a shooting slump. It happens.
Yeah.
Shooters go through this all the time.
Yeah.
He's going to bounce back. And the law of averages say he's probably due for a big game pretty soon. Yeah. The frustrating part, I think, is that you're seeing how badly the Blazers are playing right now, and they could really use his help.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
Him having a big game in one of these nights when they're playing this badly, I think could go a long way. And maybe it's that spark that this team needs that gets them over the hump and not getting smacked like they have been in those red jerseys.
And Damian and CJ haven't really been in sync in terms of their scoring so far this year. When CJ was hot at the beginning of the season, Dame was struggling.
Yeah, that's true.
Ever since CJ has started struggling, Dame's been hot. He's averaging, I believe, 30 points a game over the last 7 or 8 games. And he's shooting 46% from the field. His 3-point shooting percentage is up. And so once you get those two kind of in sync together where they're both playing well offensively, we'll see this offense be a little bit better. And if they can get back to the defense, they'll be just fine.
It's totally a balancing act. It's interesting that you say that with Damian Lillard because there's a lot going through. Obviously, he can get his points pretty much whenever he wants. But it's like, okay, who hasn't touched the ball in a while? Who needs to get up a shot? Where do I need to go with this offense? Can I take over play calling, at some point during the game? That's a really good point there.
You do see that from Dame right now. That is one area where I'd like to see a little more from CJ is in creating plays for others, not just himself. I think that sometimes he gets a little bit of tunnel vision, and I think that it's going to open up the game for him a little bit more if he tries to involve his teammates more. His assists are down. They've gone, in the past, they were down last season from the season before, and they're down this season from last season. I'd like him to get back to playing a little bit more like a playmaker in the offense and try to create offense for other players.
So do you guys think that CJ is pressing a little bit too much?
Yes.
Oh, okay. I was going to say no, but maybe he is just naturally. You know,
Yeah.
that's just naturally what you do when shots aren't going in. Maybe you take a shot you wouldn't have taken just because you want to see one go through the net.
And also when you're trailing and when you're playing these games where you're down by double digits,
You wanna get it
I
all
think your
back.
best players are going to press a little bit. I think Dame is as well. Is they're trying to get it all back, like you said. And so I've seen a little bit. He's taken some shots. He does make. He's throughout his career he's made difficult shots, but a few of the shots he's taken I've been really surprised by. They're just not high quality looks.